I'm aware that many of you have expressed a desire for online counseling, and to that effect, we have a sponsor who will help you and assist you in that respect. So if you will, go beneath the video, you'll find a link to our online counseling sponsor. They have a whole team of counselors that can help you. Practice self-care, get the help that you need. Whether you've thought much about it or not, there are a certain cluster of individuals that you see pretty much every day that we could call your shadow people. Now, when we talk about a shadow person, that's someone who's a part of your life who doesn't really factor in highly significantly to all the many different things that you do. For example, the shadow person might be the waiter or the waitress that you encounter with when you go to a restaurant. Or it may be that it's a parent that you don't know hardly at all when you go to your kids' sporting events. Or it may be the servers at the bagel shop that you just frequent from time to time. Or it could be that yard person, or even more so, the assistant to the yard person that comes and mows your grass. Sometimes the shadow person is a fellow driver. You're out there in traffic and there's a person in front of you. You have no idea what their name is or who they are or where they're coming from, but how do you treat those individuals? It could be that the shadow person is that person that walks the dog in your neighborhood and just waves, and that's kind of it. It's really interesting to watch how individuals treat their shadow people, because as you observe that, you can see a lot of what's going on inside that individual's character. It's one thing to show goodness towards people that you know and to invest in that, but are you the kind of person that treats shadow people well or not? And I suspect you know some individuals who, when they're with their shadow people, it's like they're nobody. I'll give you a personal example. It's actually several years ago, I had one of my books that came out and we were doing a promotion, and there was the local TV station in Dallas that had this morning talk show kind of a thing after the morning news was over, and I was invited to go, and I was doing a promo on my book. Well, as is the case when you're in a situation like that, I was sitting in their green room, and on that show with me was a well-known local athlete that everybody knew who this person was. And so it was that athlete, me, and then there was this cute intern who was there just kind of keeping us entertained while we were waiting for our time to come on to the show. And we had quite a few minutes there where we were just sitting there. I was on the couch and that athlete was there, and you could just tell he was just focused like a laser beam on that cute intern, and he did not say a single word to me. I mean, it's like I was not even existing in that room. Actually, during the time there, I stepped out of the room and went and got a little something to drink and came back, and the athlete went on first to the TV show. And when that happened, this young lady looked at me and said, "Well, that was sure interesting, wasn't it?" I said, "What are you referring to?" She said, "The whole time he was here, he didn't say a single word to you, did he?" I said, "Well, I kind of noticed that." And she said, "Yeah, he has that reputation that unless he feels like he's going to gain something, you don't exist." Well, I was his shadow person, and as far as he was concerned, he didn't have any use for me, and so he's not going to talk to me. Okay, that's fine. The way you treat your shadow people says a whole lot about who you are. And let me go through several things about what this might reveal. When you have these shadow people, watching how an individual treats them, it illustrates how much that individual prioritizes relationships in general. Are you just a task-focused person? Are you someone that has relationships only if you feel like it? Or are you just a relational person because, well, you like to be a relational person? You like to engage with individuals no matter who it might be. A second thing, the way you treat your shadow person, it illustrates how strong of a commitment to kindness you have. There are some individuals, kind of like that athlete, who might be kind or engaging if they think that there might be some sort of positive end game there, if they think that you can do something for them, But what about just being kind because it's just what you are? You like being kind. How you treat your shadow people is going to reveal that. Or the way you treat your shadow person, another thing that it reveals is your willingness to live in the moment. You can say that you're only going to have X number of minutes with a particular person and you may never see them again. And so you might ask, well, does it even matter how I treat that person? Well, in that moment, it matters. And then you're going to have many other moments of a similar nature where the interaction is brief and not really consequential, maybe in the long term. But you know, the behaviors become part of your habits and your habits become part of your character. So living in the moment, well, actually, it matters more than just what that specific time period is there right in front of you. It lets how you treat your shadow people lets you know how you live in the moment, but then how it goes into the development of more of your habits in general. In addition, the way you treat your shadow people illustrates your balance between humility versus egotism. If I'm a real egotistical person, it's like, I don't need to deal with you. Whether it's that person in traffic or that individual who's doing menial work in my presence, why would I care for you? Well, the humble individual says, hey, it's not all about me. That's a human being. And in that time that I'm with that human being, I want to treat them with the proper respect and dignity that's due. I can do that. Are you committed to humility? In addition, the way you treat your shadow people illustrates your understanding of the whole concept of human equality. As I mentioned, there are some people that give deference to those who seem to have risen to the top. It's like, oh, I want to make a good impression on them. Do you want to make a good impression on everybody else that shows up? I hope so. That clerk down at the drugstore who may not have a whole lot going on career-wise still deserves as much as the CEO of the company that owns the drugstore. Do you treat people with a sense of equality when it comes to those kind of decisions? And in addition, the way you treat your shadow person people, it reveals your understanding of the nature of love itself. You know that when you have love, there's a sense of patience. There's a kindness. There's a lack of rudeness that you bring to the equation. And in the moments where hardly anyone else is going to notice, and these individuals that are in front of you are just going to come and go, and they're nameless, faceless people of a sort, we get to find out how dedicated you are to the nature of love and goodness in general. One of the things that I would concentrate on when I would be counseling with the people in my counseling office is obviously I'm going to want to help them figure out how to take care of some of the conflict and strain that they had in their interpersonal lives with other individuals that are close to them. And I would help them try to come to terms of some of the difficulty and patterns that are a part of their deep history that brought some strain upon them. But all of that was there for an even greater good, and that is I'm hoping that through my counseling and my intervention with people that we would also be interested in character development, looking at all of the different things that are a part of our lives. What does it do to your psyche, to your character being on the receiving end of difficulty? And then can you take all of your many experiences and then decide through all of that, one thing I want to be known as a person who concentrates on being a right and healthy person of good character. And like I'm saying, an easy way to see it is how you treat people when you don't have to be that good person. You know, being decent towards someone is not a requirement. It's not a duty. It's not an obligation, and it's not a technique that you want to pull out. Simply put, when you have genuine goodness towards those who have little to offer you in the moment in return, and you do that in a very consistent way, it tells me one thing, and that is you get it. I hope that videos such as this will give you some things to think about, and I'm hoping it helps you concentrate on you being that better person. If you've not already subscribed, I would encourage you to hit that subscribe button, and we'll keep more videos from this Dr. Les Carter channel coming toward you. We already have our Surviving Narcissism channel as well. If you have a need for counseling And if you want someone to help you unpack it, if there's someone in your immediate area that can assist you, I would encourage you to do that. If you don't have someone there, if you prefer, we have an online counseling service that sponsors us. And we have a link below that can take you to a whole team of licensed professional counselors with experiences. And so if that's a need that you would need to avail, then I would encourage you to do so. In addition, we have my workshops, my courses, my books, all of those are, we have links to those below us here. And I would encourage you to take advantage of those as is needed. I hope that you can treat your shadow people well. I hope you're not like me, sitting in that room thinking, well, does the guy even know I exist? I hope that you make a point that says, I want to be that kind of person that brings goodness and decency to the people that are in front of me. And I hope that their life goes better because of my simple presence in it. And in the meantime, I know that your life will go better. I think we call that win-win. Be that kind of a person.